Hi, this is Joel from MindlessBrain. This is an application called MindlessCreator that I've built, or I'm building currently. It's very early stages, but there's a few things you can do with it. So I just did an update, so I wanted to show some of the improvements in it and what else you can I can do with it. Okay, let's start with materials. Now, this is a tiling noise material, and if you want to see it tiling, you can do a tiled cube. You can see it tiles just fine. It's a 4x4 cube there. Now, the one thing I've added is I've added these previews for the different channels that they can create. This is creating a diffuse and height map. Now let's demonstrate. We currently have two ways of doing colors. We've got a gradient. We can use the two colors and it produces a gradient, or we can actually set up a gradient, which is a bit more complicated. Now, at the moment, there's not many gradient editing tools, unfortunately. The only one I've got is this, where you can upload an image, and here's some reference images I got from online. So I might just drag and drop that image, and then I just press mouse down and drag across the image. I can now order this to be more from dark to light and apply it. And that applies the gradient, you see, but we're set to two colors, so I'll change it back to gradient. So there's a gradient, and you see the height map's still grey. The color map's got the gradient on it. So it's producing both those from the same image. So if I change, say, the scale, the X scale I go to height. Oops, I just turned off height. That's the height map and the color map. You can see it's still using the same noise as the source, but it's just only applying a grayscale for the height map and the color to the color map, because the height map needs to be a grayscale. What we can do with that, if I just turn that off now, is I can now take this node here. If you haven't seen the previous videos, this is a list of nodes, and each node gets applied one after the next, and the images that get created get passed through until they get to the end of the list of nodes. So if I just add that on, this will create a normal and an AO map from our height map, which is produced by our tile noise. So you can see that's a normal map, and now you've got your color, got your normal, got your height map, and you've got your ambient occlusion map. So that's interesting. If we go to the normal, we can reduce the strength of the normal to make it less dramatic. And if we look at the ambient occlusion map, we can also increase or decrease the strength to make it more dramatic. You can see it's quite a bit darker there, I think. So increasing the darkness of the map, of the AO map, dramatically brings it down, and decreasing it makes it a bit more like it should look more like that. What's that color map? It's a vertical, so that's more this one, I think, or this one. Okay, so I've added a lot more options in the I'll just make this a bit more of a general noise. So I've added a lot more options. Now you've got this mask area. If you want to change the height map specifically without touching the normal map, you can change the base of the height map. You see, you can see how it affects the normal map when I change the base up and down. I can change the range, so a lower range makes the differences in heights less. You can see that if you look at the height map specifically. So if I take the range, makes it darker, so it basically making it flatter. And if I change the base color, it sort of brings it up much higher. That's the lowest noise value. The noise is mapped between the range and the base, basically. So it'll start to get all quite white. Actually, I don't know why it didn't clamp off there, but probably that's a bug I have to fix. But anyway, so that independently affects the height map, but doesn't affect the color map. So if you can see, look at the color map. If I change the base range, doesn't affect anything at all, it's just affecting the height map. Now, I got invert here, I've got absolute, which produces this sort of, and you can do a lot of these things. I've got power, which brings, you can multiply it by power and bring it up quite a bit, take off absolute, which basically just expands the difference between the low and the high end of the noise. Now, all these things are all available, but there's all these different types of noise, and some of these things only work with some of the types of noise. Now, in the future, I will only have them appear if they are with the selected noise, but at the moment I haven't done that. I've also added a step if you want to add steps, so that's step 1, it gives you just 2 colours on the map. Step 2, 3, 4, so you can go all the way and have a really stepped up map. And 0 is no steps, it's just everything. Base range, this affects the low end, so -1 means basically everything's as low as it can be, so it's basically 0. Across the board, as you bring it up, you'll see that the highest points on the noise start coming through, and then we get the full noise once we get to like 0. You can also affect the range, because so if I make that range quite low, it's a very low noise. Basically, if I make it very high, then you get a lot of the noise going above the 1 value, the highest value, which means they'll just become flat like they are here. And they're all useful in different situations. So that kind of looks like cracks on a like a concrete surface. Kind of looks like it's been cracked a little bit. I wonder if I can go by power and that's not really helping much, is it? Power does nothing. Okay, but yeah, you can have some cracks coming through the surface. I'll put that back to kind of normal, which is around 1 and around 0. That's normal map. Now, that's great. Obviously, seed just gives a different noise seed. And you can see it sort of shifts the noise along. In fact, if you step through the seed, you'd see that sort of move along like clouds being blown across the screen. So, but since seed's only an integer value, it kind of jumps quite a bit. But you can sort of see it moving towards the top right in that image. Scale is an X scale, which makes it, I think the X scale makes it smaller in the X direction, which gives it a vertical look. Y scale makes it smaller in the Y direction, makes it a horizontal line look. And of course, if you want it, say we go there, if you want to get that sort of, now all these noises are tileable. So if we go to tile and cube, you can see they're all tileable. There's no seams in there. Let's put back to standard cube. Okay, so let's just look at a couple of the other noise types. We've got, I'll probably have to put them back to 5 by 5. There we go. There's our Veroni noise type. Actually, let's make it 4 by 4 to show off some of these alternate noise types here. That's our Veroni. I'm not sure how that works. Can't remember which ones. Step's quite fun in this one. What does power do? Power seems to push down the gaps between them. Inverted Veroni is interesting. Absolute value doesn't really do much. Aniseed, of course, will change its range. Veroni cellular makes it look kind of like this. Now this one has jitter. You can see jitter of 0 is just a grid. as it all starts to shift around, and then you get kind of jetted up cellular look. I think that range is probably just too high. Yeah, we're just going to bring that range. Gives us this sort of cellular look, and again we can do, do this and really have really tiny cells, for example, if we want. It's quite fun. Let's take it back to 4x4. Let's take the seed back to 0. Okay, that cellular marble kind of gives. Well, it did have a marble look, but unfortunately the colours don't really suit the marble look, so sort of. So in this case, I think for our colours we want dark colour there and like a bright colour here. Doesn't look very much like marble for me, but anyway. Maybe it needs to be. It's possible that something else has gone. Locality. No. Can't remember where that's supposed to be. Maybe the other way around. Maybe that should be dark, and that should be light, or white. Well, let's maybe make that like a blue colour. There we go. It's sort of vaguely marble. Yeah, it's a bit too. I swear, if you do this from the output, it seems to do better. Oh, the octaves. Maybe it needs to certain high octaves. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. It did look. I'm sure it did look a bit better before when I looked at it last time. But anyway, Perlin noise, a bit dull. Cracks. This is your crack. Actually, I'll go back to 4x4. Now I don't know why that's called cracks exactly, but sort of looks a bit wacky, doesn't it? Pattern. Now, pattern. This is let me go. Scale X. Let's go down to 3x3. Okay, so pattern gives you a bunch of different basic patterns. Checkerboard, cross pattern, tile weave, stairs, and a wave. And there's all these other options here. Again, some of the different patterns, some of the stuff doesn't work on all the patterns, but anyway. Amplitude, so that's interpolate, so that's like triangular, and that's more proper sine pattern. And there's, I can't remember what tile weave does. I'm going to go through in better detail and work through these ones. Cross pattern. Cross pattern. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, so that's just a set of patterns. Cellular metric. And there's a bunch of different metrics you can use. This is cellular, but it uses these different metrics. It'll give you a couple of different looks for the actual noise in the end. Where's jitter? I'll move jitter down. Yeah. So again, this is all tileable as before. Like if you go to tile cube, you can see there is no seam going on. It all fits together quite nicely. Don't know if C is the right one to go for that one, but anyway. So let's go back here. Now, So you've got a color map, height map, normal map there, ambient occlusion map, just very basic there. Cellumetric, organic just gives us these little, I don't know what that is, but just little, almost like worms or little marks. If you play around and get something a bit more interesting. Random lines, again, these are all tileable, so you can do a bunch of different things with the lines and whatever, but it's all tileable. Voronoi pattern, that's a Voronoi. The Voronoi pattern is just, it's Voronoi or Voronoi, but it's, what I'll do is I'll change this to, yeah. You can't see it that well, I suppose, but it uses a different color for each of the cells, selected from a bunch of colors. I think that some of the blacks are too low to see. Maybe I should raise up that black a little bit. I'm not sure where we're going with that one, but anyway. Voronoi pattern, FBM ridges. This is this ridge-like effect. Nice little ridges everywhere. What about phase? That just moves it wrong a bit. Phase. I've got power on, that might be why I was having some problems. What's step 2 here? Sometimes just playing around with it, it's quite fun. Invert, absolute. There's this, all sorts of different little wacky things which we can use to mix together later on. FBM Voronoi. Okay. Noise, which is a bit boring, random, just random dots. Basically just random dots. And there's a range of colours, random dots. Between 0 and 1, map to that colour range. Alright, I'll do another video to go further. Okay, thanks, bye.